hey, 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 Namage Gwagaya, Kamae. Kima Mayan Kayan, Kamae Mian, Namagi Gwagayan, Kamae Mian, Kima Mayan Kayan, Kamae Mian, hey, hey, ha, 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 hey, hey,
Hello and welcome to Tribal Research Specialists, the podcast, where we will be talking about important things. That's not going to work either. Hello and welcome to Tribal Research Specialists, the podcast, a podcast dedicated to chatting about. Hello and welcome to.
Gema kuhitin, nece mus, gema kuhitin, hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 Namage Gwagayan, Kamae Mian, Kima Mayun Gigayan, Kamae Mian.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that was a guy named Pete Charlie, and he lived on a Flathead Res there, and that was recorded in about 1950 or so. And he was Cree, and I don't know a whole lot about him. He's probably pretty old at that time, but that song was I always thought it was pretty neat because you can hear he's singing in Cree, and it's a hand game song. And I always wondered what he was saying in that song, but I never sent it out to anyone to transcribe. An anthropologist to transcribe, yeah, and non-native to transcribe that for us. But another interesting thing about that too was there was a number of Crees that were living there in western Montana with the Flatheads for a while and intermarried for a number of years. And I came across this article at one point in time at what was called the SIFC at that time. I guess there was, what is the SIFC? What does that stand for, Aaron?
The SIFC, it's the former name of the First Nations University of Canada. Oh. The former name SIFC is the Saskatchewan Indian Federated College. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I came across this article from that college. It must have been a newsletter. I don't know what it was, and they were interviewing a guy from up that way, and he explained in this article that the hand game came to them from us, from the Flatheads. That was his interpretation, and I thought, oh, that's pretty neat, I guess, from those times. But one of the other things that kind of came to us more recently, and even exploded across the. What did Aaron? What did you trip out about last time about Turtle Island? What?
I can't remember.
Talking about Turtle Island. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Went off on Turtle Island, and I was gonna throw in a stereotype. I'm gonna reference to Turtle Island. Anyway, I'm going off. Okay. So what exploded back in? I don't know. I think I first started hearing the Cree round dance in about 1989 or 1990. My cousin
Red Bull.
Yeah. Well, I didn't hear Red Bull first. You know what I heard first was I can't even remember.
Songs of the Bear Hills.
No, it was before this even.
Holy smokes! How old are you?
Well, I don't know if. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I was there when it was created. No.
Shame you?
No, you didn't. No. But
I thought it was that you and Art Mooseman sat down together and he showed you.
No, man. I just barely heard that. And what was remarkable was the beat, that unique buzzing sound. And I never heard that before prior to about 1990. And I thought it was really odd. It sounded very strange to me. And I wanted to know more about it. But then soon after that, it kind of exploded across the nation, and it became a really popular form of singing. Everybody learned how to do the beat, and everybody started composing songs and all this stuff. And I'm pretty curious about its origin because there's some debate about it currently about whether, the old debate, well, it's not our way. This is not our way. We know nothing about it. That's going on, or I guess it's always going on. And maybe our good friend here today, Aaron Tootoosis, can clarify some things up for us about that.
Shed some light.
Shed the light. Bring the light
The
down.
light.
Open the shade. Take that blanket curtain off of your window.
Could you possibly shed some light?
I'm too dark.
Even in the winter? Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, the round dance, it is a really popular thing, and it has been around for a long time, right? It's like, and our up here where I'm from, and what location wise, we might call it Saskatchewan, or and Saskatchewan's in a bunch of what we call treaty territory, Treaty 4 territory, Treaty 6 territory. It's really the country of the Plains Cree, the Saulteaux, and the Nakota peoples. Historically, we go back, and it's through these three nations alliance. We're known historically as the Iron Alliance. It's how we became. We used to be woodland people, but then we eventually evolved into plains people through this alliance, and also in making treaties with other nations such as the Blackfoot.
Yeah,
there were battles that were fought, right? But we managed to get along though, and make these agreements to maintain peace. So
yeah.
But in that process, though, like acquiring ceremonies, sharing ceremonies, trading ceremonies, purchasing ceremonies was a thing back then. Like how we acquired even games, like the hand game, right? From one tribe to another, and the process was similar to treaties. But treaties, we literally in our language, it's a sacred exchange. It doesn't mean treaty, but it's based on sacred principles, namely the presentation of a pipe stem. And these pipe stems are highly decorated items that a lot of plains peoples and all nations, I guess, had one of these at one time, and utilized them in order to symbolize that they're going to be exchanging stuff here, and they weren't here to come and battle anybody or anything like that. They were coming to make a deal, right? So So the round dance was it's something that was performed, not performed. I won't say performed. It was a ceremony that was done after our version of the Sundance.
Oh,
so every end of May to the end of June, right until the beginning of August is usually our Sundance season up in our areas.
Yeah.
And after the Sundance, though, there's other ceremonies that are performed. One, in particular, a lot of people would be familiar with today is the horse dance. But there was a series of other ceremonies that took place after. Like they call it a chicken dance today.
Yeah.
But back then it was known as a Thunderbird dance, a ghost dance, and then a round dance. So a round dance was a really holy ceremony where the people would would have a family bundle that would be placed on a tripod, and they would have a feast, and they call upon the ancestors that have passed on, and invite them to come and dance with the families, and friends and family that are still here in this world, right?
Yeah.
So then the purpose of that was that, the sponsors or the people that are the family that are putting up the round dance would dance through the whole thing, and this would be in a daytime.
Okay.
A lot of people have it mixed up today that round dances only occur at nighttime and only in the winter time, but that's not the case, right? When we know
Oh.
our history, but
So anytime can be done anytime.
um, but it evolved. It evolved though on its own too, right? Like our from 1895 to 1951, the Canadian government, even though we had treaty agreements, they have never honored any of those treaties, right? And instead
Yeah.
chose to implement policy and how they dealt with Indians up here.
Yeah.
So in that process in 1895, and with the policy and the ever-changing amended policy called the Indian Act, they made our ceremonies and dances illegal. So we were
Yeah.
unable to practice things that made us healthy, right?
Yeah.
And like our dances, our songs. Yeah, and later on, they even came after our clothing, where we weren't even allowed to dress how we want. And
Huh.
a lot of these policy amendments or these Indian Act amendments, they had the full support of police to enforce them, right? So
Yeah.
we were literally held at gunpoint to stop, practicing our ways, and it was always jail. And
Huh.
a lot of our people went to jail just for practicing, just for
Yeah.
singing, even, right? Like these things like that. So for a long time, our people were basically by the policy, forced to transition into a way of farming.
Yeah.
And on the weekends, when there's nothing to do, our people fell into alcoholism,
Right.
and as a way of party on the weekend, work the fields during the week, right?
Yeah.
And that's how things turned out. There was nothing else to do because we couldn't do anything culturally
Right.
all those years, right? And it was just drinking that became the pastime. And they probably wanted it that way, right? They wanted
Yeah.
our people to fall into that. So then 1951 came and they amended the Indian Act again, and they took they abolished that part where it made ceremonies illegal, where now we could practice them again.
Yeah.
So our people in our area, Little Pine, Poundmaker, SweetGrass, this is where the round dance originated out of meetings that society members had around in the area there, that they wanted to revive our societies, but they wanted to offer our people something to do that's kind of not really like in a spiritual or ceremonial sense, but
Yeah.
in a social sense, in order to introduce something to curb people from drinking on
Right.
weekends,
Right.
right?
Right.
So they introduced the round dance then, and they did it only on weekends and at nights, right? And they wanted to keep people there as
Oh.
long as they could, so they would go all night, from evening, and they try to get done before the sun came up.
Huh. Huh.
So, but they retained a lot of ceremonial components, though, like the feast that occurs before.
Yeah.
Our family, the practice was that you have a feast on a Wednesday if you're gonna have it on a Friday, or have it on a Thursday if you're gonna have it on Saturday.
Hmm.
It's just staggering the ceremonies. That you're not putting so much stress on the families there to have
Yeah.
a feast all in one day and then a round dance, at night. And
Oh yeah.
so that's how they do it back home. And again, they're calling on our ancestors still to come and
Huh.
dance. And we feed them first, and
Yeah.
then we invite them to dance.
Yeah.
And the family, they need to make an effort to dance all night, right? That you
Yeah.
can't just pick and choose what songs you want to dance to, right? It's not set up that way. It's you have to honor that pledge that was made, basically, right? That whether you said it or not, that's the purpose of it, right? So 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 that round dance that's how it's been set up for as a way to curb people from drinking. And but there are the ceremonial components of it. There's a giveaway that takes place, right? People are fed too at midnight lunch, and then they have a giveaway. We try to have a giveaway there, before everybody gets too tired, and usually on a good time when people can still hang around, and where it'll be okay if they left after, right? So
I see.
Growing up, it would be like around 2:00 in the morning, and then there's other other things that were added in over the years, like what they call a wepaiwe. Wepaiwe is like a shaking of a tail dance, and it's done with usually the locals, men and women will, they'll put aside $5, $10, or a $20 bill, and then they'll come into the dance, into the introductory song that the singers sing, and then that's the selecting song. They're hunting for a partner, not a partner which will lead to romance or even jealousy, right? If somebody's wife or husband got picked, right? It's a social dance that our people have always practiced, and whether you're young or whether you're old, you get picked, and then there's 3 other dances that follow, 3 other songs, and then it's just a couples dance, right? Kind of similar to what like people would see at in an owl dance, right? Like, or couples dance together, or kahomni. It's kind of similar, but it's called wepaiwe, and there's a set number of 4 songs for it. And after the last song there, the last dance there, that's when the local will slip the $5 or the $20. And one time I got $50, right? Like, I was young. I never used to go sing or get picked to sing and stuff where I get the money, but I'd hope I'd get picked in with Byway all the time, so I get some gas money.
Now, is that generally Canadian or American dollars?
Canadian.
Yeah, of course, Canadian.
Yeah.
Why would it be American?
Well, I don't know. I seen this once in Rocky Boy, that what you're talking about, and I didn't quite get what was going on. I mean, it's not like you don't get it. You wonder. Oh, no, what that's about. Now I know.
That's one place you'll get American money for, what Byway for sure.
I was like, Sean Dean, that's very ethnocentric of you.
Hey, now we don't have no boundaries. Indians have no boundaries.
Oh, okay? We do.
You make me want to draw.
We have legal boundaries. Actually,
we've
challenged them in Supreme Court and lost.
All right.
They generally we used to have ceremonies a long time ago that it was like a thing where somebody that's just hooking up, I guess, like, as a couple, the community would kind of get together, and then the men would go capture the wife, and then they'd all have a dance, and a guy would have to watch all the males dance with his wife, like kind of similar to what Byway, but what that did was curb jealousy, right?
Oh yeah.
So nowadays it's pretty bad, right? Like jealousy's a really bad thing.
It is. Aaron just made me jealous a second ago. I just about booted him from the.
I tend to do that.
You have that effect on people.
No, crows do something similar with the push dance.
Is it similar?
You're not similar. We're talking about jealousy for a second.
Oh, okay, okay. But it's for that
crow
reason.
Men they're not allowed to dance with their wife.
Oh.
And they would always tell us, like, well, if you dance with your wife, then you'll only dance with your wife, and then that takes the whole social element out of the dance. So when they have push dances, which is kind of our version of the round dance, a couple's dance, it's all night kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You can't dance with your wife. So
that's pretty familiar theme, right? Where something was taken to the evening time, and then because of the policies, government policies, and then that myth gets passed forward to future generations that this was only done at night, or this was only done in this set period of time, when in reality it was
way out in the middle, like way away from town. And now we've adopted that, like, well, that's where they have them. When you hear a lot of older folks talk about their grandparents would talk about doing things in, like, right where they lived, they would do it here.
And they're shed behind a house, or right in town there.
That's how our Sundance was too. Our Sundance was forced to go underground because people still believed in it, right? And needed to keep the Indian agents away from finding out where these dances were being held. So they they put the drums away, and they introduced just a rawhide. They throw a rawhide in the center of the dancers, or the singers, I mean, before they start singing, right? At our Sundances, even still today, but long ago that was never there. But when they put the drums away, they introduced this rawhide, and with sticks that we hit, you couldn't hear that for miles.
Yeah,
but you'd still be able to create a beat on the animal skin, and then and also whistles. I guess a long time ago they took away the eagle bone whistles too, so that they wouldn't be heard. But how people adapted was by dancing with just a aspen leaf in their mouth.
Oh, really?
And this is the information that I gathered over the years. Hey,
yeah.
So now, after when they were after the 1951, they brought back the drums, but they kept the hide in the middle. Though you'll still see that at our Sundances there, and that's how they went underground. And I always wondered, because even though you can have them way out in the middle of nowhere, those, you can hear those drums even still today, like from miles away.
Yeah. Especially in that flat land, long ways. That sounds like the what we call today the canvas dance. They used to just beat on a hide. Everybody would grab a edge. But that was more for. Well, I don't know what maybe it has some tie to that, but that's what they'd send the warriors out to battle with. They'd sing their they called them the sinkaka. They'd sing those songs to send their warriors back, or out to battle, or out to raid or something. But this was like mid 1850s or so. So maybe not connected to that.
Well,
yeah,
I would say you guys, you people, you're probably about 20-25 years ahead in your oppression than a lot of tribes in the Rockies.
All right, yeah.
Because of the church, the church's presence was so early, yeah.
That's right, ain't it? That's right.
Mm-hmm. So you may not have government policy dictating until everybody else did, but you definitely had church policy and norms determining how you guys acted, you people.
What is the
I don't live over there anymore, so I don't have to worry about that.
To worry about you people.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
What is that? What is the story, or is there even a story behind that beat? That triple beat on that drum, because that's pretty unique.
The round end.
Yeah.
It's just people never really understood it until science advanced, right? And they actually listened to the actual rhythm of a heart, and it does have a dragon there, like another sound, and and that sounds actually electricity, hey.
Oh, really?
Flowing through the heart, yeah.
In the heart, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I got my big 18-inch elk hand drum. How's that?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds
so
good.
The way of hitting this drum is you make like you can make these two beats like that to make a heartbeat, right? Like, and one beat is harder than the other.
Right.
But in between those beats, you're now dragging your fingers. You're pressing your fingernails of your two longest fingers, and and then I use two. That's how I was taught when I was younger. Some people might use one. They might use their middle finger, but I don't think people want to really give their drum the middle finger.
Oh, I do. Pretty regular.
so that's
that, and then you're creating a little drag or a little murmur. And in that, your body follows through with that rhythm, hey, and then your songs even that follow through. How you match your voice to this drum is to that little drag sound.
Oh.
So like I like that.
Yeah.
And you're it's a different, altogether a different way of singing, right? And
yeah,
a lot of the rules of round dance singing were kept to, right? And we're brought into this new modernized way of round dance at nights and on weekends. And one of the things that the old guys were really strict of was the introduction of English into the songs.
Yeah.
And also the words, and really they like a lot of the songs today would be offensive to a lot of the people that aren't here anymore.
Right.
And especially in terms of romance, right? They never, the intent was never for the round dance to be a point of romance for people, right? To introduce that or bring that into the circle.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of songs are all about romance, right? And they differ from what songs used to be about talking about spirits, talking about power, talking about our people, and the magic that we had, right? In terms of power and all that. But you don't nearly hear that anymore. It's all replaced by romance and hooking up and all that thing. So, but they would say, if you don't use Cree words in a song, then just sing it straight. Because a lot of people don't appreciate even a straight song today, and even know what that means, right? Because these songs are a language of their own. And I really had a good talk the other day with one of my mentors that's well known out there in power world and in the world of singing, who told me that that all of these songs, and he had a story about it, that every one of these songs has a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And and there's some of us that are gifted to be able to hear that language and then interpret it to the world by singing it, right? And that's it's up to us to bring those spirits to life, right? We're kind of the conduit here in between the worlds, because nobody can explain where those songs come from. They come from somewhere else. And it's some of us are blessed to just be like an antenna, right? And then all of a sudden a song just comes boom. You know, we're able to sing it like that, right? But you know, and in the process, though, we're not to be stingy or greedy with that gift, right? We have to share, and you know, if we don't utilize these songs, then you know, maybe that gift will leave us, right? So we gotta try and do everything that we can to keep that going, because you know, it's very important, and you know, there's got to be a reason for it,
right?
But you know, it's just like all our. Sorry.
Oh no, keep going, man.
Yeah, it's just like all of our other stuff, though, right? Like, you know, we're looking at our languages dying out. We're looking at our ceremonies dying out because of that. We're looking at everything disappearing, and it was prophesied that this would happen.
Right.
The thing is that we'll never ever lose our dreamers. We'll never ever lose the ones that will be able to bring these back through dreams, right? Through asking, through prayer. You know, pray for something, you'll get it. You know, you ask. You know, maybe you don't even know how to pick a medicine or something, and you don't even pray. You ask.
Right.
Hey, I wanna learn how to pick SweetGrass. I don't have anybody in my family. I'm pitiful, right? Then all of a sudden, things just happen, and all of a sudden you're, you know, braiding 70 braids of SweetGrass, you know, in a day.
yeah.
You know, that's how it happens, right?
Sell them on Facebook. No. Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about, and we talked about this previously about like the composition of songs versus songs that are not composed. You know, like the ones you say when you talk about you're like an antenna. You know, you don't intentionally make or compose a song to sound a certain way.
You're, conduit.
You're it conduces you. What is the word?
Coalesce.
It coalesces. I used this word coalesce once long ago, and Aaron just won't let me.
I think you used it a little more than once. There was about 3 episodes. I think you dropped coalesce on us about 4 times.
Come on. Well, I'll go back.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so at all. I'll go back and find it. But okay, so this is the deal. The power of the song. Then I'm curious about in your guys' way up there. You know, the composed song versus the conduit that arrives, the song that arrives via a conduit. Is there a difference? And I mean, obviously there is, but I mean, how is it I guess managed in your guys' way? Because a lot of people compose songs these days. They just do, you know. Or at least I think they do.
You know, you get a set number of lyrics, like, you know, put them together, and then you follow it through with just singing, right? Or you know, singing a tune to match the words, and or you can do either, right? You can have, like, you know, a straight part set out, and then you can match words to it, and then, you know, make a lead for it, right? Like, I've done some of that before. And then some people are, you know, even dream of songs too, right? Like, you know, the words and everything. And you know, whether they're in English or whether they're in our own languages, right? So, but up in our, you know, up here in the north there, you know, particularly Minnesota, Saskatchewan, I was listening to Clayton Chief last year. They had that round dance, that virtual thing there for Mosquito First Nation. Right? And what stuck with me was when he told people that, you know, he introduced the songs that he did to make our culture cool, to make our culture appealing to our young ones, to get so that they'll get involved because it's cool, right?
Right.
And I never thought about it that way until he said it, that, that, hey, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been at Round Dances today.
Really?
Yeah, because he made it cool. There was a bunch of us teenagers, like 13, 14, 15-year-olds that just fell into the music then of what he was bringing into that circle.
Yeah.
And also Art Mooseman. The two of them went all over the place too. And then you had Ed Running Around from Waterhen Lake, and the three of them made all these wicked songs that made Round Dances cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it drew us in as young ones, and now we're the ones that are kind of, I guess, looking to be in the place that they were when we were young, right? So
yeah. What was you gonna say, Aaron? You said something.
I was concurring. I started singing because of a Little Island Cree tape.
Yeah.
So I remember the first song, like the very first song I heard.
Sing it.
And I was just like addicted to it. What's that one? Everybody knows. I'm not gonna
we'll back you up then.
The Pocahontas one.
The Pocahontas one.
It's on that tape, but no.
Yeah. Not that one.
I'm not gonna sing it, no.
Yeah. No, I think that holds a lot of truth. What you're saying, and I think about that oftentimes, and think, well, there's a lot of things going on with our respective tribes, loss of certain things, and I always think, well, how can you make it cool to the kids? Because that's really how I think, and it really is inspired by this whole round dance explosion. How you can go to any tribe, any reserve, and there's a group of kids that are singing Cree round dance style of singing.
They're walking around with hand drums and backpacks.
Yeah. And they probably know about 6 or 10 Cree words, or at least they think they do.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
because it's cool.
I think the difference though between our generation, I guess, and like newer kids is, so we use that Cree style of round dance as a springboard to like maybe our own thing. Or to maybe inspire us to know what we are, to acknowledge what we already knew, maybe. Yeah. It just seems like now, though, that I still meet people who should be starting those steps into like, hey, man, I love Cree style of singing, but I'm doing my tribal thing now. I meet more and more people who aren't doing that. They just stay in that lane. And I would think, I'm curious to ask Aaron this, is there sometimes where you listen to people sing or something and you think it's almost like a form of appropriation? Because there's some pretty, I'm real judgmental when it comes to singing. So, and I am kind of judgy, and I'm real picky about people, the way the style of music I like, and what I think is good singing, and even like the people I look up to in round dance singing were like Art Mooseman and Clayton Chief and Gordon McGilvery and those kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
So when I listen to like people in stairwells all day, like just I'm just like, this is crazy, man. Like someone's gonna get mad. I know someone's gonna get mad, but we actually had a podcast where I trashed ribbon skirts for an hour, but no one said anything
to your face. No one said nothing to your face.
No one said anything to my face, which is fine. So I'm curious, Aaron, do you think there's a threshold? Because like I know for the Crow people, we have ceremonies that don't belong to us, but they were purchased, right? Like you were saying. And when you talk to the tribes from those people, they don't see anything wrong with that because it was done appropriately, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say that I've been a part of round dances and quotes that we never were taught how to put these things on or how. So do you think there is a level to it that's like, at some point you have to go to round dance Mecca to do it right? or something like that. I don't know what that would be, but I'm just curious.
Round dance school.
You have to at least one time in your life come to Poundmaker.
You have to get beat up at Poundmaker once. You got to get jumped.
If you don't get a hickey.
No, but I know what you mean. Like on an extreme end, right, of cultural appropriation. Like you see in the news lately, like and if anybody has been on my Facebook, or it's been all around Facebook, where people are sharing this video of these white guys at a protest in Ottawa, hitting on a hand drums and singing yabba dabba doo, yabba dabba doo, right?
And they bought that song though.
Nobody ever posted that, right? Like that correlation there. Somebody made a song, a round dance song. I can't place it to, right? Like with those lyrics in there, yabba dabba doo, right? Like Fred Flintstone. I'm just thinking like that person's gotta regret making that song.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Remember they yell yabba dabba doo in the song?
There was, who was it that did that? Somebody did that.
I think it was Black Lodge.
No. There's a song there with the lyrics. Yeah.
It was Eugene. Eugene Cardinal had a yabba dabba doo song. I remember it.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. So back to your question.
I want to get to the hard hitting stuff here, man.
The appropriation.
But yes, but that's the thing, right? Like round dance, yes, they exploded, right? And they are everybody's basically coming to a point where, hey, I want to have a round dance too, right?
Yeah.
Watch it on YouTube and say this is what they did, or inbox somebody. How do we go about round dance, right? And
we didn't even do that.
No more tobacco, or no more pipe stem, no more of these sacred exchanges, right? What our people had, right? And it's kind of like to me that would be like even worse than cultural appropriation, right? Like cultural appropriation really is a real recent thing too, right? It became a real heated topic in 2017 at the UN level. 187 countries came together and wanted other UN countries to make this a crime in their country, right? That they wanted cultural appropriation to be a criminal offense. Just for their protection of Indigenous cultures and Indigenous economies, right? So, but today we take this and but the truth of it though is that because it was we shared this with other nations up here, it became like, I guess, who can really claim ownership over it, right? Who's the authority over it? Right. Who can say that those people don't have the rights to do it that way or this way?
That's interesting.
So not like long ago, like everybody respected and knew where even a song came from. You could sing a song and you'd know where somebody came from just because of how they sang, their style of singing, right? And
that's interesting that you bring that up, because I've been involved in singing for a little while now, and Sean Dean has for since you were singing like Head Start honor songs like back. It's been a while. Yeah. I think Cree style of singing has affected the way other tribes compose songs now. So there used to be kind of the way a certain group or style, song composure for sure, right? Mm-hmm. So do you get what I'm saying though? Is that I want to hear what you guys think. I think that style of singing that's popular, because I'm sure that because when you're around like Poundmaker or like a Big Bear, like it's real familiar to me, that style of singing. So I know it's more of a contemporary thing, but what's your thoughts? Go.
Get it.
Yeah. The styles of singing have really kind of have been really influenced by other tribes now today too, right? So like we can't really say where like how somebody sings now, if that's like the original way their people have always sang, right? And but yeah, Cree style it is unique. A lot of people, like, the history even goes as far back as, even Rocky Boy, right? With the Rocky Boy singers.
Right.
The late Charles Gopher was one of the most influential singers down there in that side of the America there in the north, and even influenced singers like the late Bill Baker. Bill Bill Baker's brother-in-law was Charlie Gopher, right? And they spent a lot of time singing when they're younger, and then it was said that he took that style and introduced it to his people. And then you have other singers like come to Blackfeet and Star School. You have the late Pat Kennedy that came from our area as well, from Little Pine. A lot of people didn't even today don't know that late Pat Kennedy was a Cree from Little Pine. And yeah.
Well, he spent ample amount of time at Flathead, right, Pat?
Ample. He used to have this drum. He used to have this drum, and he'd always show my mom, "Hey, look at this drum." And it looked like a bongo, It had a big drum head on one side, and the other one was a little bit smaller, and it had these strings going between it. And he said, "This side's for powwow singing," and he said, "When I flip it over, that's for round dance singing." He was really proud of it.
So I have a Pat Kennedy story.
What?
So do you remember Homesteader days?
Yeah.
So they used to have this powwow at this little. It's bad. It was called Homesteader Days.
Yeah,
had a powwow there, and one year some young guys got inspired and put on a hand drum contest. So I was feeling kind of my oats,
Yeah.
And I went out there and killed it, man. Like I killed. When you're young and you're like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm crispy. No one got me. I mean, I'll just stand by the announcer stand because they're gonna call me, And then Pat Kennedy goes up there, who I didn't know at the time, and smoked me, man. Like lit me up. I mean, just
no comp.
Yeah, no comp. And then I was like, "Who the hell's this old guy?" And everybody slapped me, and they're like, "Dude, that's Pat Kennedy." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've heard his name before." So he smoked me at Homesteader Days and drum contest.
Well, let's walk back.
Won $40.
That would be a good T-shirt.
Yeah.
I got smoked by Pat Kennedy with a round dance singer on the front.
Let's walk this back just for a second. This is the deal. Now, I think so. Whenever I hear that drum beat and that round dance style, I automatically think that belongs to the Crees. And if they won and they're not Cree, I think they ought to pay a percentage back to the nearest Cree person they see, at least 10%.
10% Cree Fee.
10% Cree Fee. And I think they own the style, and I think and we ought to pay for that.
Unless you just, what if you find the loophole and then you just purchase the right to use that style from a local Cree?
There you go. The next way you should do
it. But that's one of the things, though, right? When I'm going back to ownership, right?
Yeah.
Like our people, because we were three nations up here, we became intermarried with each other.
Yeah.
So our bloodlines are all mixed, right? Like Cree, Nakota, DeSoto.
Yeah.
Big Bear was really Soto by blood. My ancestor, Chief Poundmaker, was Nakota by blood.
Yeah.
And Plains Cree is is what we all spoke, though. And that's what our people identified as, right? Because of course you see the world like that through the language you speak, right? Like,
right.
And that's how they identified themselves. Even though Chief Poundmaker too was what they call, like, his mother was Métis, right? It's a half mix of Cree and French.
Yeah.
And but again, still, he was known, respected, looked at as being, Nêhiyawak. And so Nêhiyawak is how he speak out there. And the same with Big Bear, right? He always spoke about he actually he was born in on the Soto side there of, around what's the Soto First Nation Reserve and Moosomin First Nation. Most of those people there are Soto by blood. And they call themselves Nakoi, but in the States they'd say Chippewa.
Oh, right? Okay.
So you go to Rocky Boy, Chippewa Cree, right?
Yeah.
Like we acknowledge that we have that mixed ancestry.
Yeah.
So when it comes to ownership, like, as Plains Cree people can't start taxing everybody, right? Because
and for the record, I didn't.
Our Nakota counterparts, like where Art Moosomin came from, right? Like Mosquito,
is
a Nakota, really originally a Nakota reserve, Nakota peoples.
See, did you see that? Aaron immediately was like, "Wait a second, I can't be a part of anything where you have to tax Crees." Sean Dean just suggested that all round dance singers pay a fee to the Crees. I just could see all those Nakota guys and Logan Alexis and all them guys are like, what? No,
we're owed money? Since when?
You about started a controversy.
I don't think we pull that much weight, I don't know if we got that kind of listenership that we could make that happen. But no, honestly, that's what I think. Not in those terms, but I think, so this happens on our res right now. You get a group of young folks and they say, well, we want to do a round dance. And they just do it because, there's nothing that essentially stopping them in a cultural sense. But now the older people are putting their foot down and saying, no, you can't do that because, and that's the common phrase, it's not really our way. You should practice our own way before you go out and do these other things.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But the way you describe it, the way that you kind of frame the history of it, that the intent was social, and then further to say, it was this thing that was, it was made cool because of the style. I don't know if it was necessarily the English words in it. I don't know if that's necessarily part of it, but that's what's really attractive, I think, to young people today because you can compose these songs of love. And go ahead, what is up?
I'm curious, Sean Dean, what would your singing life would have been like without that round dance singing?
Well, you know what? I think it's very much like you said previously. It was a step to getting more into what was more, I guess, would be deemed like the traditional singing. It was a platform to say, okay, I get this, and I know it probably has a history to it, but what's more where I come from, that could be cool, that I could hopefully bring it back into the community. So it is really an important part, I think.
Because I look at some of the people your age over there that are culturally involved now, every one of them at some point sang round dance songs,
Yeah.
Because I sang with them. So so it's weird, like what you're saying. I get what you're saying about, but at the same time, we got to use everything we can to get people involved in culture because, man, we're at an unprecedented point in culture loss too. So, I don't know. What do you think about that? Go.
No, I'm into it. I'm not saying that. I'm not in the camp of the folks that say no, don't do that because it's not our way. I think that, but I think in terms of if you're doing anything cultural, anything that would be in the sphere of being native, especially singing, man. We're at least so on our res, we're so short of people that are into even just singing Indian things in any genre. I think if we can get folks excited and learn to sing, and I think that's the next step into learning more about your own traditional songs, I guess you could say. That's what I think. So I'm not against it.
Mm-hmm.
But Aaron, what?
The one thing about it though too, right? It's just like how universities and colleges around the world, like where Indigenous peoples are present, right? They have this concept called indigenization, right? They want to indigenize the spaces there at these institutions, right? But the thing is we always had that as peoples where, we look at our ceremonies today. Can we actually say these are our ceremonies, or our ways, right, when we have a history of trading, purchasing, these ceremonies, right? All together. I'll give you an example of myself. I never grew up in Cree ceremony, but it was I guess what we'd call cremated. We my family grew up in the sweatways of the Arapaho people from down in Wind River.
Oh, really?
And that's the way we sweat. And I grew up, as long as I remember, like even just as a small little, maybe 2-year-old, that was in the sweat there. And that's where I learned how to sing.
Right.
Because, my uncles, all my uncles that cut the drums of Poundmaker albums there.
Yeah.
The Tootoosis family.
Yeah.
Those were my original singing mentors, where I learned how to sing in the sweat there. Okay. And they weren't singing Arapaho style. They were singing the songs, but in the Cree style, right? Yeah. And then, you look at round dance, though. You can do that still, right? And you can put the words of your own people into those songs, and sing your own style, and introduce that and influence it. Do your own feast, prior to that, right, how you do it, or your own way of giveaway, even, right? Like, all of these things or if you want to adopt it all together, right? To just, ask somebody to come and show people how to do it, and, develop that mentorship for younger people, or, other ceremony runners that do things like that, arena direct powers and all that. It's a similar thing of stickman, right? That there never used to be stickmen long ago. There was hardly any singers, and it was the singers that had Sundance song rights that really were recognized as the singers that would they'd ask them to go and sing some round dance songs. So they just sing, and maybe they'd sing not even just 4, they'd probably sing about 10 of them, and or maybe just sing a few and sing as many starts as they want, because there was hardly any singers, right? But as time grew on, there, more and more singers started becoming round dance singers and leading songs, and eventually there had to be an intermediate person that would have to select singers as they came in, because the MC would lose track, right, of other things that he's talking while he's talking, right, and can't keep track of the singers as they came in. So that's how they were selected eventually, that they'd be picked as to how they came in, and that would be the most respectful approach, right? That rather than somebody getting skipped, like, hey, I came before him, like, they're disrespecting me. No, nobody thinks like that, but but also you have to be mindful of people's spirit as well, or helpers, And
are you suggesting, Aaron, that Indian men pout? Are you suggesting such a false claim?
Oh, we have this thing up here that, you have to be mindful of what you say to a person, because you're not just saying something to them, but he might have protectors with him that will take care of you for him, right? So you have to really watch how you act around people because you don't know what they're carrying. Basically. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. Yeah. I'm wondering, Aaron, is that in your country? What is that? Do you have that same do you get that same pushback from the older folks or the generation above about bringing in things that are maybe not quite don't belong?
Yeah,
or no?
For sure. One of the things is competition, eh? In the round dance circle, like I know a lot of round dances, mostly in the stateside, are introducing and using competition as the drawing point for the round dance, hey? And it's kind of almost destroying the purpose, though, in a way, because we try to maintain that it's a dance that we're calling upon our ancestors to dance with us, right? And there's strict rules there that you can't walk in between the rows of dancers. Little kids at one time weren't allowed to even come to round dances.
Oh, really?
Out of their own protection, because of what's being called there, right? That that they don't want children to be harmed if they are running around all of a sudden and offend these ancestors that are there, right? So ceremonially, they're strict about it, and my dad, himself wasn't even able to go to a round dance until he was 18.
Oh, really?
They kept a lot of those things, and we see a lot of round dances, blowing up, and then this is the thing that a lot of people were warned about long ago, and round dances never really were threatened by this by the prohibition period, right? Of what I was mentioning there earlier. They were put away even before that, and the story was that round dances became such a big thing, a big deal, and a lot of people were so focused on that, and we're only wanting to do that, and eventually they became so big, that eventually the elders and ceremonial people got afraid, and they believed that because people weren't listening to the rules or weren't doing how things are paying attention to the protocols and the cultural values and stuff like that while they're doing this, they felt that they were asking for harm to come, whichever way, maybe weather, maybe flood, maybe sickness, maybe. You never know right, or how our people thought, or even what they were told or shown. So they went around and they end up telling people that they have to put this away now for a while. It'll come back again, but out of the safety and protection of all our people, we need to put it away. So it was put away, and it was a few years ago where this history was shared with a lot of people, that they see it happening again.
Oh, yeah.
And they were saying this, let's say 10 years ago. And they were open and miking it up, and these stories like that right over the mic, telling people that this was put away because we were afraid that something was going to come, sickness was going to come. But now we're in a pandemic, and we couldn't COVID-19 pandemic, and couldn't even have round dances, right? And people are kind of even scared to have them now. They did have some recently, even just over the winter here, and a lot of people got sick from there. And so now but again, I'm not saying that's why, but it's one of the things that that we don't really we don't value as much today, right? That these old warnings or these old ways, and of proceeding cautiously, not to offend, all of these things people just laugh at even today. And make fun of, right?
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I can. I suppose it'd be more difficult today to actually put something away like that now because it's so widespread. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess other tribes might respect that, and other people would respect that and not put it away, or would put it away the same. I don't know. I just don't know where people's heads are sometimes, especially with the competition. A lot of money involved and those kind of things. I wonder, in Crow Country, Aaron, do you see that same thing where there's like something comes in and then it gets pushed out or gets criticized because it's not from the Crow culture? Because it seemed like to me, I mean, there've been round dances in Crow Country though, right? People thrown them.
Kind of. So here's kind of, they've piggybacked things we've already done though. So like a push dance, then they'll say we'll have these young guys sing a couple Cree round dance songs. But so they were already like the owl dances that people used to do. We don't hardly do those things anymore. Push dances, and my grandma talks about like house dances. They used to someone would have a big house and they'd clear it out. People invite people, they'd bring food over and feed but the closest thing I can think of is maybe about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, Southern singing kind of became popular.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it wasn't just here. There was like Cheyenne groups and Rocky Boy groups, and probably over there too. It kind of was popular to like sing that style but it didn't last long. It seemed like it just never caught on, or like But I mean, I personally like Southern singing. I really like it actually. I would say that the most recent thing to kind of come into Crow culture that is overwhelmingly recognized as something foreign, but it's there, and good or bad, is not Indian at all. It's just Pentecostalism.
Oh yeah.
Which is a whole nother podcast, man.
That is. But I think
I was trying to think really hard. Did you see how hard I was thinking?
I know, and I don't see a whole lot. It seemed like Crows are pretty isolated in that way. Not isolated geographically, but
culturally isolated in a lot of ways. I think what we have now is things we've had for a while. There are foreign things like the grass dance ceremony, but we got that in the 1800s, the push dance actually is from the two-step. But the singing style is very Crow. I would say a lot of things we do are Crow, but
a lot of it's borrowed in a way.
It's borrowed, but we're probably about 20 years behind a lot of tribes. So we still have a lot of our culture, but I can see it just from my time living at Flathead and being around my wife's Blackfeet. So being around them, seeing what they're going through culturally, or what their elders talk about in the 70s and 80s. We're going through that now.
You can see that wave coming through.
Yeah, and I try to tell people, and I'm like, hey, and like people aren't buying it.
Are you prophesizing?
I'm prophesizing a little bit. I predicted I'd do this.
So this is the other thing, like Aaron, not the Crow Aaron, the Cree Aaron is talking about something was happening.
You almost said the cool Aaron, huh?
The cool Aaron. Well, I was thinking that. That's right. So something happened to some sort of excess, and then people got worried. That seems. I don't know if it happened in Crow, but it happened in Flathead too, is with the giveaways. And this was long ago. There was like people started competing to see who could give away more. This was way before the modern times. And the chiefs at that time just they outlawed it. They said, okay, no more of these giveaways like this. We just got to stop, because people kept trying to give more and more, like competing who can give away more. So that kind of way kind of stopped.
Hey, you're okay. I get what you're saying now.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm wondering if anything like that, that phenomenon happened too among the Crows, because Aaron talked about it. That reminded me of that instance of the giveaway. I'm wondering if that also happened.
I guess I heard your question. I get what you're saying now. And yes,
that's a different question.
Oh, different question.
This is a different question altogether. You just weren't paying attention.
Aaron,
you're gonna hurt his brain, man.
I know, dude. Like, Sean Dean has no respect for what I do for my job. I wrote a budget today, and man, that's like the worst thing ever. But yes, budget. And in fact, I've been involved because of my current position. Aaron, my job is I'm the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer for the Crow tribe. So I deal a lot with cultural people, but also kind of in the world of like regulatory. So enforcing cultural resource law. So it's kind of a weird place to be, but so I'm privy to certain talks among like the cultural leaders, right? Among the Crow. And this talk is like, people are talking about this. And it actually does have to do with two things. The involvement of white people and I said it.
Say it again.
I'll say white folk. and giveaways.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Giveaways is like Crow. Anyone who's ever been to Crow Fair knows that.
Oh God. Monday night.
Yeah. And here's what I'll say as a Crow believer of culture, giveaways are required. So I don't encourage that they go away.
Yeah.
But I do agree that it's losing purpose because it's becoming the competition for the next person. Who's bigger giveaway, you know?
I gave away 20 blankets. We're going to give
20
away
is 60.
a small. That's
20 is a small giveaway in Crow, man.
Yeah.
Like we're talking 40 Pendleton blankets and horses and people have given land.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. Like it's pretty wild. Pretty wild, man. No one ever gave me land.
Yeah.
Well, so I actually have this thing, and I'm curious. Now we're getting into something else because giveaway is such a big part of being a tribal person, not just a Crow, but a lot of people. I have actually run into people, and I'm curious what Aaron thinks, that there are people who don't get involved in cultural things in fear of giveaways. So I've called it giveaway anxiety. So they'll be like, well, we want to get involved, but maybe you come from a family that doesn't have the means to have giveaways and feeds, or they feel a lot of pressure to like ask people to be involved or things like that. Yeah. So I'm curious, do you think that exists among your people? Go, folks. You people.
I really believe so, and you know, it is a hard thing to do, especially you know, and in the times we're in, where people are, you know, living from bill to bill, right? And to put up a giveaway could really mean, you know, following through on their commitment to ceremony or not, right? And I believe that that's a large component of why people only choose other, you know, to follow certain other ceremonies, because they can do that without having to make that commitment of a giveaway too, right? So I believe it's a thing, and I think that's something that. Oh, by the way, speaking of, you know, I mentioned SweetGrass, right?
Yeah.
So we're part of like Poundmaker, Little Pine, SweetGrass. Used to be Thunderchild until they moved on the other side of the river. And also with partly with red pheasant people, but we were also historically known as the Battle River Crees.
Oh, really?
And people, like, because the one of the main rivers in our area is the Battle River, and we've always kind of lived along that river, and we have a lot of respect out there. You don't want to piss off the Battle River Crees, but get this though, we have a crow connection here. The
SweetGrass connection,
SweetGrass Reserve. The old man SweetGrass, the first chief there, was actually Crow.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is I knew that. And the only reason I knew is as part of that Big Bear settlement that happened, that was kind of big in the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. There was Crow involvement in some of that research. And my grandmother was hired by I can't remember, a Canadian law firm to do genealogy to find the descendants of Sweetgrass.
Yeah.
And I remember briefly hearing about it, but the only reason I was kind of familiar with what you're saying is after she had passed away, I got copies of some of her like genealogy stuff, family history stuff. And in there was a whole file dedicated to Big Bear. And then as by default, it was like some of the Sweetgrass stuff. And in there was like, who were his kids? And then, cause I think his daughter or something had moved back with the Crows or something. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, that's pretty wild. You're the first person I ever heard say it, though, other than my grandma.
How did it end up there?
I don't know the story though. Like it's always been in the talk though for that since we were kids that Chief Sweetgrass, he was a Crow Indian.
What year was that? Around what
1987.
1987.
The reserve system didn't happen until after 1867, right? So, or 1876, I mean.
Yeah.
So it was those years that he was the chief, but he was already known as Old Man Sweetgrass by then. Put it that way.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah, and then the other chief of their people was his name was Strike Him on the Back. But that was always the thing that like how in the heck, right? Like
yeah. I mean that's not
wild. Man, you blew my mind just now because that folder my grandma in the 80s did research on him and who his family was, and from what I gathered, at that time people still remembered like who he was. Really? Stuff like that. So I'm gonna look back and see, because it'd be kind of cool to see now.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know how it ended up there. 1876, prior to 1876.
Yeah. So I bet a lot of people even from there probably don't even know the history even today, especially in terms of genealogy. So it would be pretty interesting to see.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
And like I said, my grandmother was the only person who ever said it to me, my dad's mom, that I ever even heard say it. So the fact that you're saying it is pretty crazy because I never heard one other Crow say it.
This is a magical connection.
Did we just become best friends?
You got that connection to the Blackstone Singers. They should be called up for host drum there in Crow.
Oh yeah.
I think
they permission to sing any Blackstone song now. Any of their old double leads, you can sing those.
Oh man. Yeah, I have the right now to sing. Terry Pascamin's double leads
with the solo.
Hey, that was a killer. Speaking of round dance tapes, that first Blackstone round dance tape was pretty killer back in the day.
That was a September Rain, hey?
Oh yeah,
I think so. I think that's what it's called.
I think September Rain was a powwow tape.
That was a powwow tape?
Yeah, I think it was called like Long Ride Home or something like that.
Oh yeah. Huh. I was supposed to be on that round dance when we were actually practicing. Like Terry would come pick me up in Poundmaker, and we'd all be practicing for that album. Like, Terry and Randy would always pick me up. We'd all go to round dances too. And but the day the album came, I was just sick. I said, no, I just can't even. But we're first cousins, hey, me, Terry. Like,
okay.
His late Cookum, his grandmother, was my Muslim sister, so that's how we're related like that. So
Blackstone, that was the group, man, when I was younger.
First powwow tape I ever bought on my own when I was a little kid was a Blackstone tape, Blackstone Fort Duchesne. So
that's a deadly album now.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one.
Cool, man. Man, there's a lot. I think there's a lot more that we could chat about. Especially now we're getting into the powwow singing. What
can we do a quick thing with Aaron before he goes? I want to hear his top 3 round dance recordings. I want to know what your top 3 round dance recordings are.
Now, okay, wait.
My go-to would
like your go-tos, like the ones like, hey, if you had to show somebody like, man, you want to hear real round dance singing, like just this is it. What are you? I want to hear it.
Yeah. Playlist.
So the first one would be of course the Red Bull, the first Red Bull album ever, right? That would be the
one.
First. Yeah, with the bull on
pink
it.
One. Yeah, that's classic.
That one, of course. And then the next one would be the what the heck was it called? It was the Art Musaman one. It had the painting of a cowboy on it, and it had the Scabby Lips song on it.
Oh yeah, Scabby Lips. Yeah. That's a good one. Isn't there one on there where he talks about the skinny legs too, or bird legs? Is that on that same album?
That's the same song. Like,
oh, is it the same one he talks about? Okay, same song.
Hold me with your skinny arms.
Yeah, skinny arms. That's the one. Okay.
So, do you have an honorable mention since that was your top 3?
No, that's only 2.
Oh, that's 2. That's 2. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one would be that. I think it was the one of the latest Red Bull ones. With it was just late Arnold, Pete, Edmund, and Troy and Chopper. There was just 4 of them on that one. I think it might have been Round Dance Fever.
Oh, Round Dance Fever. Oh,
I don't think I heard that one.
Dude, you've heard it.
I must have. I don't know. I don't.
You had to have heard it. You probably had owned it when you're at treatment. I'm just kidding.
Got me through treatment.
Dang, man, Round Dance Fever. I forgot about that.
I gotta get you got those? Do you have those? You have those on tape still?
I have the first Red Bull on tape.
No, the other Aaron. I don't care what I was kidding.
I got like a bunch of tapes, and I have that Art Musaman one on tape I'm talking about. That's I just can't even think of it, but I got that on tape. I have the cover and everything. And then
eBay.
I have the other that Red Bull though. I don't have on the old one, but you can find it on SoundCloud. The Saskatchewan Indian or Indigenous Cultural Center has sound files on SoundCloud. There they have all the old SICC albums from Red Bull, Ayabe, all of their they've been just uploading them there.
Nice. That sounds like a gold mine.
You know what? I'm gonna put that link in the show notes for those straggler listeners who are still hanging in with us. That's
how long have we been talking?
Hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, well, before we go, what's your top 3 then, Sean Dean?
Me? Top 3?
I want that.
There was this one.
Aaron's are dying to know.
Okay, there's this one, and I can't remember the name, the full name. The group was called Nakota something.
Nakota or something.
No, not Hey. Nakota. It was one of the first ones I heard. Nakota something.
Nakota Travelers?
No.
Just start saying stuff.
I can hear it in my head.
Nakota Creek.
Because it was the first. It was around the first ones that I ever heard, and I was just it was enchanting. It enchanted me.
I think the biggest album that nobody has today is the Songs of Bear Hills.
I was just gonna say the Songs of Bear Hills.
That's one of them too. That's one of them. And then the next one, which I am quite fond of, but I can never get a copy of it, is the old McGilvery and Green. Ooh. Just those two old timers. I don't know how old they were at that time, but I really like that one. Just because there's just 2 of them, they had some good tunes.
Yeah.
Well, they blended real well together too.
Yeah.
The singing was nice.
So, Song Bear Hills. I wish I could remember Nakota something. It's really old. Well, old for me, I guess. And then McGilvery and Green. Those are probably my top 3. What about you? Because I know you want to say it. You were just leading up.
I think there's a lot of pressure on singers to always say we're the oldest.
Yeah.
So for me, like,
well, I thought we were going old.
Art Musaman, straight from the heart. That recording is badass, man.
Yeah.
Then of course I gotta go with Little Island Cree, man. That first one, what was it, like World Champion Singers or whatever that first one was?
Yeah. I didn't get into
the
Little Island
Pocahontas song. Man, I was a Little Island Cree like freak.
Yeah, I wasn't too into it.
And then I'll probably say the first Red Bull. Dance to Red Bull.
Dance to Red Bull. You didn't, okay, I better not say that. Okay. Well, that's cool, man.
What?
I mean, I was just gonna.
You almost said something offensive.
I did, yeah. Almost let
you
it slip.
say it. Now you gotta say it.
No, I don't want to. Well, I'm thinking,
you were gonna talk about Big River Cree.
No, I wasn't gonna talk. I was talking like some Randy Wood, No,
I never did. I don't like. I'm gonna say it right now. I don't like solo round dance singing.
Yeah, I used to be into it just for a little bit, but it faded pretty quick.
Yeah.
You got to be on it. You probably like that harmonized stuff.
Yeah.
No.
I do. It sounded cool the first time I heard it, but then.
Well, yeah, like anything's cool for a little while, but like what my go-to, just like in powwow singing, it's I go through stages, but I still think Big Bear is like the biggest reason. Like, man, when I first heard Live at Fort Hall, it like blew my mind.
Yeah. That was a good one.
And I've said that on this podcast like 80 times. So
yeah, you have.
Anyway, we kept Aaron Tootoosis a long time though. Bo, go ahead, finish.
Yeah. No, I'm good, man. Like that was a good talk, man. Like, it was awesome to be asked to share that what a lot of people don't have the opportunity to hear, right? And
yeah.
And it was good, really good.
Yeah, I think
we pride ourselves. I think we pride ourselves in asking questions that normally people don't talk about on podcasts.
Yeah, man.
I even though it sounded pretty heavy, there's a lot of stuff that I left out.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
So look for part 2 and 3 and part 4.
You have to buy it from me to hear this.
This was just the introductory, like the free 30-minute trial.
Yeah, this is the 30 minute.
Yeah. You're gonna get to the
payment of $49.99.
To hear the rest, it's a small subscription, $149 American. For 2 more episodes to reveal the secrets of the
Patreon. The Patreon will hear the full.
Yeah, Patreon subscribers will get all access.
All three of our Patreon.
Yeah, by the way, we got to recognize our sponsors, man. I'm not going to do it now.
Sponsors?
We do. Yeah, we have a few sponsors. Few bucks.
Hey, before we end with Aaron, though, is there anything like do you want people to follow you like on or like do you have a podcast? Do you have like any? I
got Facebook and that's it, man.
Facebook. What is your
music wise, I do have the Guns of Poundmaker on what is it called, SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And I do have Big Bear files in there when we sang with Big Bear.
Yeah.
And there's an unreleased album that's housed on that as well.
Is it the red bottom one?
No. Oh. This one we recorded it up here in Canada, but we never got to release to sell a CD to that point. But studio quality recording live, and that's on my SoundCloud as well for free access. So
we'll put that link down in the show notes. People can access that. And then you work at what institution you work at there?
I work at the Saskatchewan Polytechnic.
Okay.
Sask Polytechs are one of the colleges we have here. It's not really just a trade school. It's full on college, and I'm the Indigenous student advisor there, and I look after all our Indigenous students there.
Cool, man. Well, that's good, man. That's good. Thanks for taking the time out and chatting with us. We could probably keep going, but I'm getting a little bit hungry, man. I'm getting grumpy.
Yeah, we'll have to do a part 2. I know we say that all the time.
Yeah.
Because I felt like we're just getting lubed up. It's just getting nice. I shouldn't have unmuted. I muted myself, and I thought, no, we got to do a part 2. I wanted to say that, and then you went. No. I said lube.
Well, this is what we want. This is what we want. We want to try to get more singers on here. Like, we had Mike LaFramboise, we had John Stiff Arm, dropping some knowledge bombs on us, and Aaron same, just educated us on a whole history of the Cree round dance. So that's good, and I think that's the thing we need to share around, and I think it's pretty important. These singers are important. They know certain things, and some singers are important, not all of them.
Well, you guys heard it here first. Sean Dean said not all singers are important.
I'm just kidding.
And he said that you have to pay a
yeah. Some singers are important. Songs. Yeah, 10%. 10%. That's American. Cree That's Fee. American, though. Yeah. Yeah. And then Aaron Tootoosis will be responsible for distributing that amongst the Cree nations, the Plains Cree Nation.
Aaron Tootoosis will be providing Cree singing licenses and permits. So if you go to his Facebook and Cash App him, you can get your Cree singing license from Aaron Tootoosis.
Yeah. Level 1.
My answer to them is I'm going to be saving for a van.
Yeah.
A Dodge conversion van.
The Dodge conversion. The roof's a bit leaky, but it's still good. All right. Thank you for joining us on this episode. And if you want to learn more about what we're up to, go ahead and search Tribal Research Specialists in Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, and check out our other sites. And if you want to contribute to the show, go ahead and look us up on Patreon. We would appreciate your donation.